Order is maintained. Exactly. Just hang on. As you are speaking now, the PF colleagues, Cambridge, somewhere across the country, GBM, somewhere, everywhere. They are campaigning. This is a campaign time. The election is in a few days' time. Right? You're scared of a civilian. You shouldn't be scared of it. So, I'm going into Chipata. I don't need to notify anyone. Because I'm not violent. I'm harmless. If you think of carrying arms, search. What you're doing here, bombing people like it's a war zone. You're disgracing yourself. Complete disgrace. The nation is watching. The whole world is watching what's happening. Even this conversation they're watching. Do not allow the country to degenerate. I don't need permission from you or anybody to come into Chipata. It's my country. It's my town. People were just receiving us. Happened in Fue, happened in Lundazi. The police were around to keep order. PF are there, UPND are there. And in fact, there was Steve Miranda's part. You saw his truck moving around in Fue. Yes. There was no problem. You are creating a problem. You, not anybody. Let me go. You have detained me here for almost 2 hours now. It's not right. This is illegal. What you're doing here is illegal. Please allow us to go into town. If you want, get your vehicles, count us here, drive us into town, into some lodge. That's it. But that too is illegal. But if that's what you want to do, do it. I'm not leaving this place. I'm here. You can arrest me. Come in. Take me. I'm available. You've arrested me 15 times already. You can take me instead of a standoff like this. What's happening like this, Mr. Lungu? What's happening? So, what crime are you going to charge me now? Is it commissioner? He is commissioner.
Yes.
So what law? What crime are you going to charge me?
Sir, you are talking. You stopped me from talking. I explained to you.
Because you say that yes. I needed permission. We need to be straight with each other. I don't need your permission.
But we need to know your movement.
Why?
So we know where you are going.
Why?
So that we also protect.
Why?
You
protect?
Yes.
Hang on there. Yes. Protect me from who?
Everybody.
Listen, from yes. PF thugs, who you are afraid of keeping under order. You don't have to protect me from. These people love us. They love change. Walung, it doesn't matter what you do. Change is coming, and you'll be okay. You are being cheated by Davis Miller that you'll be arrested. Why should we arrest you? We are going to save you, him and others. We're not here to arrest anybody. We want to work on the challenges of this country. They in you have said it. You protect me from PF thugs. Rein in on PF thugs. You can't now arrest the innocent. We are the innocent. We are the victims. So please,
otherwise,
let us out of here, please.
Not very good.
What is not good? Hang on. Because you started shooting at people who are peaceful. Why did you start shooting at people who are peaceful? These are your own brothers and sisters.
You don't want to lose your life.
Whose life? So you want to kill?
Anybody's life.
You want to kill people?
Not necessarily. I'm saying just putting Jeannie like that.
Sir,
you don't want to lose anyone's life.
You trained
yes.
to keep law and order.
Exactly.
That's what you trained to do.
Yes.
You didn't train to suppress citizens. You listen to the bombs that you are dropping, tear gas bombs there. How can you do a thing like that? You must be ashamed. Take us out of here. You know that this thing is not locked. You should respect us that we did not unlock this thing. There's no lock here. But we obligated because we didn't want you to say we have broken the lock. We are here. At least you should give us respect also. We gave you respect.
We waited for you.
We waited for you. You will solve this problem. We are very peaceful people, completely peaceful. We've been everywhere, so Kwesi everywhere. No problem. Yesterday I was in Nampunwe. Perfect. Your colleagues were there. Unless you are saying you want to create a border around Chipata, that this is a new country. Are you saying I'm not a citizen? Do I need a passport here? I don't. So please let us go. Escort us, take those hooligans out. Arrange 2, 3, 4 vehicles of ours can come. Then you escort us.
Just give me a minute.
Please, thank you, please.
All right, thank you so much. That's
That's what is happening in Chipata, or what was happening in Chipata. We're getting some feedback, so we are working on that. Don't worry, we are working on that feedback. Thank you so much. Now, when we started the program, I think there was no sound. I was explaining before we go to that clip that we are only 13 days to go, but there's a lot happening in the political arena. Now, what you are seeing in Chipata is as a result of a statement which was issued by the Zambia Police Inspector General, that's Mr. Kakoma Kanganja, where he directed his troops to ensure that they smoke anybody who goes to campaign, because in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Electoral Commission of Zambia has banned political rallies, political road shows, and so forth and so on. However, later on, the same Zambia Police, through its spokesperson, Madam Esther Katongo, issued another statement saying that, because people are now asking, but why is it that the president and the PF, they're campaigning freely and the police are not there to stop them? Why should you only stop those that are from the opposition? And why not also stop those in the ruling party? Because this is a campaign period, and if indeed this should be a free and fair election, let the playing field be leveled for everybody. But however, Madam Esther Katongo in her explanation said the president is exempted from the Public Order Act. Hence, he can traverse this country at will, even during this campaign period. He can go anywhere, he can campaign freely, just like he continues to do. He's in Choma right now, he's in the southern province. He can go anywhere and do his campaigns. The Public Order Act does not affect him. Those are some of the issues now that we are discussing. However, earlier in the day today, in the eastern province, there was a lot of tear gas smoke. And as there was a lot of tear gas smoke, I mean, let's just see what's happening where HH is. This is what happened. We'll not finish this clip. We'll just watch a little bit of it, and then we'll be reverting back to the discussion.
Hamson, move in front. Tukani ndani kutari, tukani mrodi ndani. Yake mgeza chio kwa sisi. Mfadi ya kamera manyada, kamera vizuri. Okay. Okay. So Karibia Samson. Bambu punya kumpuya.
Okay, okay.
All right, so basically that's what's happening in the eastern province, in the eastern province of Zambia, where the UPND leader was briefly detained at the city's airport there, that he was not going to be allowed to go into town because there are strict instructions that he's not going to be allowed to greet people, distribute fresh masks as indicated by Mr. Kakoma Kangaja. Let's start from the statement, Mark, that the president is immune to the Public Order Act, especially that this is an election year. Why should the president be given leverage to move around, and yet others should be locked up in their own houses?
Thank you. First of all, what we need to bring out as a matter of fact is the fact that the elections are managed via the Electoral Process Act, okay? And then also the Constitution of Zambia. By the Constitution, we mean the Constitution of Zambia prescribes the period within which Parliament must dissolve. After Parliament has dissolved, it is the period for campaigns. Now, having established the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the same constitution gives birth to the Electoral Process Act as an act of parliament. Now, the principal act for the management and of the elections is the Electoral Process Act and not the Public Order Act. Now, here is the difference. When it comes to coming up with the manner in which calendars have to be managed, it is the preserve of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Now, I want to just demonstrate how this particular process is managed by the Electoral Process Act. If you look at the annexed Electoral Code of Conduct, Section 1 of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016, it's very categorical. I was almost trying to get to this particular section for purposes of our viewers appreciating some of, or rather the background of our talking, so that they know that
on your phone.
Yes, so that they know that I'm sure this was turned on by a Northwesterner. Yeah, so that they understand that this is not mere talking, because you have to speak. It's important that we draw our authority from the Electoral Process Act, and of course a schedule, section 107 for the Code of Conduct. 1, and I quote, a person has, subject paragraph 2, the right to. Now this is the principal act which gives rise to all political players to campaign freely. Okay? Chao pena. So I'm going there. 1, to express political opinions. B, debate the policies and programs of political parties. C, canvass freely for membership and support from voters. Canvass freely means you move about freely. Now, the Public Order Act is not superior to the Electoral Process Act. Well, we appreciate that both of them are acts of parliament. So when it comes to the electoral period, election period, this one, the principal act is not the Public Order Act. It is the Electoral Process Act. Now, because before you realize, if you are going to allow abuse of the act by the police the police will just wake up and say, we are using the Public Order Act. We didn't know that you people are supposed to gather here to vote. You're supposed to notify us. We are cancelling the voting. Have you seen the confusion that they are bringing in? Now, if a person who is myopic will tell you that they are supposed to use the Public Order Act during this period, then we should as well not go for voting. You have to first notify the police that I'm going to queue there. Because the Public Order Act says a certain number of people cannot gather. You're supposed to notify the police. They will consider it unlawful assembly. Now, here is another law which allows you to gather, to queue for purposes of voting. If that does not allow or require you to inform the police, then canvassing does not require you to inform the police, because the act which allows you to queue in order to vote also allows you to canvass freely. I'm sure you are following.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. E, to publish and distribute notices and advertisement. F, erect banners, placards, and posters. G, campaign freely. Now, this is what this act is doing. It's the principal act. In other words, it is the biggest law to, let me move away from principle, perhaps. This is the biggest law which regulates elections and not the Public Order Act. Anything to do with the elections. This is the biggest law. So during this period, this is the biggest law that we have, and not the Public Order Act. It is the one which is telling you that you are free, you can campaign freely. Okay? It is the one that is saying under H, participate freely in partisan politics and activities. A, seek the protection of the law from harm as a result of that person's political opinion or affiliation. Now, this particular law, it also protects you from being harmed by anybody as a result of the political opinion or affiliation, or indeed any other thing that you do arising from this election. Now, listen to this. I want to bring out section 2. A public officer shall not engage in any active partisan political activity referred to in subparagraph 1 while it's in the public service. Now, listen to this. I think you are aware that previously, when we had experiences like what transpired in Eastern Province, it was because the opposition UPND have been blocked by PF cadres. Okay? That's what used to happen. When you would be reporting Kalan Muchima, reporting for Prime TV, in this, because they have been blocked by PF cadres. Now, because PF cadres this time are incapable of blocking, so now we have PF cadres in uniform. That's how you would term them. Because if civil servants do not act according to the law, they become cadres. Because they are failing to apply the law fairly and firmly. If the IG says that they have no control of the president and ABCD, he is right that he has no control of the president. But the Electoral Process Act has the control of the president. This particular act has no regard to whether someone is a sitting president or not.
Yeah, but the question,
it is focusing on the person.
But the question mark is, which people are finding difficult to understand, where the police would say, the president can freely go and campaign, because he's campaigning. Whether he's just going to commission whatsoever he's going to do, whatever he's doing. Right now, the president is campaigning. He's drawing crowds wherever he's going.
Correct.
So if he is doing that, why then should his other colleagues not be allowed to do the same?
Well, one thing that we need to...
Where is the fairness in this particular regard?
This is where it is. Now, while there is a Public Order Act which the police uses, during the elections, the police are moved away from the Public Order Act. They are taken to the Electoral Process Act. And in the Electoral Process Act, it now prescribes the duties of the police. So I want to move away from Honorable Kanganja's way of looking at things.
No wonder why Commissioner Lungu, when he was being asked by HS to say, why are you detaining me here? No, it's for your own protection. And he was being asked, whose protection?
Section 6, I'm coming. As I come to respond to that one. Of the Electoral Process Act, next Code of Conduct. The Zambia Police, under the duties of the Zambia Police, you can imagine that it is allocating duties to different institutions. This particular act I'm talking about, not the Public Order Act, but the Electoral Process Act, because that's a principal act. The reason why the duties of the police are prescribed here is because the people that crafted this particular law had foreseen a situation where police would start using the Public Order Act to disturb the political environment. So they had foreseen, okay, they had envisaged this particular development. And Section 6 says, under the duties of the Zambia Police, during the election, the Zambia Police Service shall A. enforce law and order at campaign meetings and processions in order to maintain peace and order. They did not say they should stop the campaign. B. Ensure, the Zambia Police Service shall ensure that police officers, did you hear that? The Zambia Police Service shall ensure that police officers do not abuse their authority or government resources to campaign for the benefit of any political party or candidate. Simply put, if you and I are in a race, and then it's 100 meters, there's a line which is drawn here for us to start. The role of the police is to make sure that the people that are watching do not come near the line, so that you can run properly. Imagine police come from behind. Before they say, on your marks, on your marks, get ready, go. Then they touch your jacket so that you don't run. That is what they are doing in
My good jacket for that matter.
They hold your jacket so that you don't run. Then they are pulling you while you are trying to advance. Now, this is what they are doing.
While the other runners, they are
allowed to run.
Are allowed to run.
They are headed for the finishing line.
You are struggling.
They
with
are
one
holding
leg.
you behind. Now, he's saying, now, this is in a way campaigning for another political party. The word campaign does not require you to simply go and hold the microphone only and speak. The way you conduct the policing activities, okay, you can actually campaign for an individual. You openly campaign for the PF at the expense of the over 18 million Zambians who are suffering. And you are also suffering, including your children. You are a police officer, your children have failed to go to the university, you have no money. You have failed to build your own house, you are relying on loans.
University, probably they don't have a bursary which they are fighting for.
Correct. Now, I'm trying to say that you are a police officer whose salary does not even reach the bread basket of 5 people of 8,300. It is below. You have to execute your duties, but on one hand, you should also understand that you are doing wrong things and you're not doing justice to the public. Now, here it is that the Zambia Police Service shall ensure that police officers do not abuse. This is about abuse. Abusing their authority or government resources to campaign for the benefit of any political party or candidate. Where they went there, they burnt fuel. That's abuse of public resources. To go and simply campaign for that person. Wait a minute. Just a few days ago, we were discussing the opinion polls. If only people could ask that, you were saying on the paper through the opinion poll, your friend has already lost elections. Why are you scared of him going to visit your stronghold? Number one. Number two, you were saying this person has their own region, they only won in 3 provinces. Now he wants to go in that area. Why are you so scared? You are the one who gave me an example of, is it Rundazi, where there was a by-election? Where
that was in Vubui.
No, where they lost, where President Edgar Lungu comes from, where they lost.
It's in Petau.
Now, what is transpiring in Eastern Province explains it to all the Zambians, even those that have very little education. They are now opening their eyes. They can see that President Edgar Lungu is so scared of HH. He is so scared of losing elections.
But why are you bringing in President?
No, I'm trying to explain.
So here,
why I'm bringing in President
Lungu? Is it President Edgar Lungu? The issue is about the police. I brought the issue of the police, not President Edgar Lungu. I'm
coming. IG Kanganja said they have no control of the president. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He also commands the police. That's why he's coming in. Note that when Parliament dissolved, the chief executive, who is the president, did not dissolve. The Constitution says his power only comes into effect, comes to an end when this president-elect is sworn in.
Correct.
You get the point? Yes. Meaning, he still has control of the country as though Parliament was not in existence. Except he can't make laws. Okay? Because that is the power vested in Parliament. You get the point? Now, I must mention that Because of that, he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. When you see police officers doing wrong things, he's behind it. Okay? Because if he's not, he would stop wrong things from being done. So that is how he comes in. And that power is given to him by the Constitution, not by himself, by the Constitution of Zambia. Not to abuse, but to operate within the ambit of the law. Let me further mention on this one, as I leave this particular part, on the duties of the police. They are very limited in this particular act. Okay? It says, the Zambia Police Service shall refrain from disrupting any campaign, rally, or meeting which is legally convened by any political party. Do you get the point? Which is legally convened by any political party.
So you can actually sue the police over this kind of behavior.
The challenge is that you sue the AG, the Attorney General, okay? If you are going to sue the Zambia Police Service. But also there is another way of suing police officers in their individual capacity. Using the Anti-Corruption Act for abuse of public office. Okay? And then other acts can also come in. Now, because even Kanganja, once this time, he can be sued. Him who has no immunity for abuse of public office. The challenge is that the same institutions, when you are doing the abuse of public office, then you bring in the Anti-Corruption Commission. Okay? Now, the Anti-Corruption Commission, you should understand that they have been given by the Anti-Corruption Act the mandate to also commence prosecution. Okay? Using the DPP's office, and they will also be cross-examined. They will also conduct their investigations. Of course, it becomes a joint operation with other statutory bodies like the Zambia Police Service itself and DEC. Okay? Now, let me quickly mention also that this particular section also says the Zambia Police Service shall ensure that police officers do not use their office to oppress any political party, candidate, or supporter. Did you get that? Now, there is a reason why this particular act is bringing out these things, because they are common in an electoral environment. I don't know whether I've made my point clear. There is a reason why this particular electoral process act is bringing out all these things. Because these are usually common during elections. I want to re-emphasize, because that may have disturbed you. It says, the Zambia Police Service shall ensure that that police officers, are you listening? Shall ensure that police officers do not use their office to oppress any political party, candidate, or supporter. It's done. Supporters should not be oppressed. Even using any other law where you say Public Order Act, it does not come in. Your duties are prescribed here during the election period.
But where are the police getting these instructions to abuse their powers, to tear gas people? I mean, look, that was just too much smoke that we saw in there for people that were not unruly, for that matter. Because the question here is, Mark, if they're saying COVID is real, does it mean that President Edgar Lungu, the people that follow him, are immune to COVID? I mean, these are the questions that we ask. Does it mean that COVID can only be spread by those
in the
opposition? And those that follow President Edgar Lungu, they cannot contract the same disease?
You see, the way some of these diseases, let's just wait and see. You will see what will happen. But I want to tell you something. That because ECZ has not been playing their role, the Zambia Police Service now are running elections. Okay? Because their duties are prescribed. I have always told the people that the people that are at ECZ, they have no capacity to run that institutions. I know most of them there. Okay? I know. These are persons that can't easily resign as long as you've put money on the table. They can't resign, even on a moral ground, that things are not okay. They will continue chewing, even people being tear gassed and now, listen to this. On the duties of the commission, I want to link it with the duties of the police. Now, what I'm reading is the Electoral Process Act, not written by Max Moe, but signed by President Edgar Lungu, assented to by President Edgar Lungu, okay? And passed through Parliament.
In 2016.
Correct. Now, it says, that is section 3, the duty of commission when it comes to electoral code of conduct. In other words, when it comes to the manner in which the different players in the election period are conducting themselves. Here is the duty of the police. I've mentioned it. Okay? That's why the code of conduct is basically prescribing how people should conduct themselves. Now, during this conduct, here is the duty of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Section 3.1a. The Commission shall, where reasonable and practicable to do so, A, meet political party representatives on a regular basis to discuss matters of concern related to an election campaign and election itself. B, ensure that political parties do not use state resources to campaign for the benefit of any political party or candidate. Did you hear that?
Right.
That answers the question that you are talking about. This has nothing to do with whether President Edgar Lungu has to move or not. If he is campaigning, the ECZ are mandated by this law to ensure that none of the political candidates, including President Lungu, are abusing state resources. But here is the problem that you would have. The problem that you would have is,
Well,
I'm
you also have to be categorical with regards to state resources, and probably others may be thinking that he is not supposed to use the presidential chopper, planes.
Yeah, I'm coming there. That's what I'm trying
He's
to-
entitled to that.
I'm
It's
trying to
only the
explain
president
something.
and the vice president who are entitled to
Yes.
government machinery.
I'm trying to explain.
Probably it's the issue of milli-meal. You
No,
want
I'm
to get
coming.
milli-meal. All right, you can go
I'm
ahead.
coming. Now, I said, here is where the problem is. Where the problem is what I earlier alluded to when I said that he still has executive powers and to perform the powers of the president,
Yeah.
to even sign other treaties on behalf of who? The people of Zambia. However, during this period, as you are aware, like it happened on the sovereign guarantee for ZESCO, when we had a very serious debate that Parliament was dissolved, there was no one to approve, so he could not exercise certain powers under ABCD. But he can exercise presidential powers, so many presidential powers, like I mentioned, except to make the law. Now, the role of the commission is to ensure that political parties do not use state resources to campaign for the benefit of any political party or candidate. Now, the people that drafted this law had also the ruling party in mind, because an opposition political party has no access to the government account.
Correct.
I want to be very clear and very simplistic in the approach of this particular issue. It had taken into consideration the ruling party, because they are the only ones that can abuse state resources. Okay? So, this has particular clause, has no regard to whether it's the ruling party or whoever. ECZ must ensure that these resources are not abused. We saw a chopper being used by a former PS to distribute mini meal and other gifts to the electorate. ECZ is quiet. It's a moribund. Okay? Now, we have seen these things happening where NGOs are coming in, distributing things and so on. ECZ is quiet. They're not saying anything about it. Now, where you expect a statement, you think you are aware where we're going to discuss the issue of killing. On one side, they are banning. On the other side, they are blocking. Okay? And ECZ is just quiet. The referee is ECZ. But the referee now is like a player. When you look at things, now it's like Zambia Police Service is now ECZ. Then ECZ is a political party in an alliance with the ruling party. That's how they are behaving. Okay? Now, if you look at C, the commission shall, where reasonable and practicable to do so, avail political parties with the election timetable and election notices in accordance with the Act. Then ensure, this one, listen, ECZ shall ensure acts done by leaders of political parties, candidates, supporters, and government and its organs, which are aimed at jeopardizing election or done in contravention of this Act. Not ensure, but censure, meaning suspend. Now, I want to re-emphasize this one. D, ECZ shall censure acts done by the leaders of political parties. Did you get that one? Okay? Leaders of political parties. Take note of that. Candidates, comma, supporters, and government and its organs. The executive, there is a chief executive there. They are included here in this process. That they shall be censored. Do you know why campaigns were banned in Osaka? And even the head of state needed not to campaign. The reason was simple. I think different political parties wrote to ECZ. It is because this particular act involves government and its organs. Other organs that you may talk about is the Zambia Police Service.
Right.
Did you get that? Other organs, ECZ can also say, we don't need the police in that area. ECZ can also tell the police, we don't need guns, we only need police in uniform. They can prescribe how they want the police to police the event. They are the chief monitor of the elections, mandated by the Constitution and the Principal Act with the Electoral Process Act. As I wind up closely to this, ECZ shall declare, of course, this has to do with the elections results expeditiously. We will see if they will delay. So people should take note of this because they've been told to declare expeditiously. So
But
we shall see.
they delayed in 2016. We saw it was announced 5 days later.
Those are legalities. Wait.
Right.
Now, ECZ shall also ensure, these are their duties, shall ensure that a campaign rally or meeting which is legally organized by a political party is not disrupted or arbitrarily prohibited. There is only one institution that can prohibit. It is the police. Now, the law says ECZ must ensure that a meeting or campaign rally, that is a legal program. Doesn't it bother you that an institution which is more superior than the police, which is ZAF, allowed the opposition leader to fly to go and have a meeting there? And then the police came and they blocked it.
But you're also aware.
No. This is what I'm trying to say. That if you look at the hierarchy of the defense, okay, the one which is on top says you can go ahead and fly, use our airspace for whatever you're going to do there. Police arrive and say.
It was also not as easy.
Police also go there with the Public Order Act. Do they read the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Process Act, which prescribes the duties? And ECZ is being reminded that they should ensure that a campaign rally or meeting which is legally organized by a political party is not disrupted or arbitrarily prohibited. That's their job. They are quiet.
Could it be the reason why the British government and the American government, through their ambassadors represented here in Zambia, are also complaining, are also issuing statements to the effect that this election is not fair at all? Because
correct. This one I'm trying to justify by not talking too much of my opinion, but by reading. There is a reason why I'm doing that. I'm trying to show the nation that there is a law which is being broken by the people who are supposed to enforce it. That is what I'm trying to demonstrate here. The people that are supposed to protect the law, the Zambia Police Service protect the law by enforcing the law appropriately. Now, they are the first ones to break the law. What will happen to the people that are perceived to be lawbreakers?
Right.
If the people that are supposed to enforce the law, so that life is protected, so that the nation is protected, the same people become our oppressors. What will happen? Let me read another one. I don't want to talk much, but to read the law. H, or let me start with G. ECZ shall ensure that an election officer, police officer, monitor, observer or media person is not victimized in the course of their election duties. Now, if you look at this one, you can see that police officers are basically being taken as pawns in the electoral process. Just like media houses, they are being put in the list. And the one who should make sure that they are not victimized is ECZ. Now, I'm trying to demonstrate to you that it is the other way around.
Right.
The police is taking over the work of the...
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to demonstrate.
Mark, let's just read some messages.
Yes.
And when we come back, we continue the discussion. Let's just see what the people are saying back home. Your contributions now. Okay, we're trying to get through to your messages and just see what the people are saying. Ivan says, I'm Evans Kwambi, watching from Lusaka, Chawama. Thank you so much, Evans. Can we read just from there? I think, okay, we can try to read from there. Oliver says, watching from Kafue, nice program. Thank you so much. And Mwinga, Kalan, please, we need your channel here on the, Copper Belt. Please consider putting it on Go TV. God willing, we shall do that. And then Teddy also says, I don't understand when she said the president is not immune to public...
I actually tried to explain that.
Public Order Act, but to other side, the law to the other side, the law said no one is above the law. All right. In short, the law, I mean, if the law has got eyes to see which one is which, then there'll be no justice. It's blind.
Wow,
Right?
I think the constitution is very clear, Alan.
But hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Let me just read some more. Where is the church, the human rights body, the civic organizations, and our so-called traditional leaders when such atrocities are being perpetrated by those assigned to protect the citizens? Okay. As Amisi, they are also inconveniencing other road users, PF governors. Mutinta Mwetwa says, we are watching you from Monze Town, Southern Province. Thank you so much, Mutinta. Now, the problem with the Southern Province, we don't even know this one, whether he's a she or a he, because the names are just one and the same.
You're just interested.
Not interested, but this one, whether Mutinta, are you a man or you?
Oh, that Mutinta, I'll send a message. I know what you
No,
want.
but no, we don't know which Mutinta. Mutinta, are you a man or you are a woman? That's the problem with Southern Province. You name a woman Mwinga Mwinga. How can a woman be a Mwinga Mwinga, for Christ's sake? Let's see, maybe two more messages, then we can continue the discussion. Mwana Wabalea. Okay, Mwana Wabalea, where is the... Okay, Mark? We can get back to the discussion. You were trying to explain something.
Yes, I'll respond to that message, which is still talking about Lungu being,
The Public Order Act does not apply to him.
Yeah, but you see the way I'm just from reading the law that this time the Public Order Act does not arise. Okay? Because police officers are not in charge of the elections. Huh? I think this is, I don't know why people are struggling. I don't know if the police are struggling to understand that. They are not in charge of the elections. ECZ is in charge of elections. They are merely stakeholders in the elections. That's why they are being said to be. ECZ shall ensure that even police officers are not victimized. Now, the problem that I have now is that it's the other way around. Okay? Now, look at this. Let me wind up on the three last ones. The ones I'm dealing with are just duties. To remind people that ECZ is docile when they are supposed to play these roles I'm talking about. This is what I'm trying to demonstrate. Now, F, ECZ, in fact, H, ECZ shall ensure that police officers act professionally and impartially during the electoral process. Did you hear that? Now, the ones who are supervising the police here is ECZ. And their job is to ensure that the police are acting professionally and impartially. If the police are acting the way they are acting now, and then ECZ is quiet, it means ECZ is approving of what the police are doing. They are endorsing. By keeping quiet, they are basically endorsing. Now, the citizens are now following social media, they are reading the news, and to remind ECZ, we will tell people what is written here so that they know that you are sleeping. Okay? Very, very important. We will tell them. And this is what we are trying to demonstrate. Then, this is HI. ECZ shall ensure that traditional leaders do not exert undue influence on their subjects to support a particular political party or candidate. J, ECZ shall ensure that equal opportunity is given to all stakeholders, particularly political parties and independent candidates, to participate in and conduct their political activities in accordance with the law. And K, ECZ shall condemn acts of media organizations and personnel aimed at victimization, punishment, or intimidation of media practitioners implementing any of the provisions of this code. Now, this is something that we need to think about. These are the duties of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. So when we hear us complaining that ECZ is quiet, ECZ, ABCD, we are not basically talking about ECZ because we have to talk about ECZ. It is because they have a special mandate prescribed by the Electoral Process Act. So, I was reading the Electoral Code of Conduct. Now, because people may want to know where it is found, because if they just enter Electoral Code of Conduct, they may not find it. Since we want people to know what we are reading, so that we can have as many Zambians as possible,
right?
Not only Kalan and Mark speaking. What you do is just go on the Google or any other search engine that you may be using and enter Electoral Process Act. you'll find they will come. It will come. It's written Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016. Now, when you get that Electoral Process Act, it's a volume. At the end, that is where the Electoral Code of Conduct is found. It is attached to the Electoral Process Act. That's why when I speak, I'm saying the Electoral Code of Conduct annexed to. Okay? Like it's an extension of the Electoral Process Act. It's contained in the Electoral Process Act. It's different from the way it used to be earlier, where the Electoral Code of Conduct was moving independently. This time it is part of it is annexed to the Electoral Process Act. So that's why you find it. These duties I'm reading are coming from there. You just go at the far end, it has its own numbering.
I think people have gotten that. Mark, let's move on to the next stage. Let's move on to the next stage. Still on elections. ECZ, we're just talking about ECZ. ECZ has banned political campaigns for the UPND in Ikeling. And the UPND, through their candidate, Elijah Mchima, has appealed against that decision. And the reasons that were given were that the UPND are violent. But the UPND, through Mr. Mchima, is saying, you did not do any of your investigations, and all you're trying to do is advantage the ruling party in Ikeling. Yeah,
I followed what Honorable Elijah Mchima, whom I consider to be a very senior politician in this country, starting from the movement for multi-party democracy. He's one of those disciplined politicians, as many citizens across the country may agree with me. Okay? One of the mature politicians, one of the firm politicians that stand for what they believe in. And to get the like of Honorable Elijah Mchima and drag him in the mud as things have been done is very unfortunate. And then in addition to that, I think ECZ to do itself a favor by, first of all, not rush out to do what they've done that side. But as you answer, you must also understand that ECZ has also banned the candidate, an independent candidate in Sioma, also over violent activities. I'm coming. First of all, I must be quick to mention that it is the job of the ECZ to even censure. I talked about censuring when I was referring to this. Censure candidates or stakeholders, I mean supporters or members or candidates that contravene any of the provisions of the court. That is their power. But when you are enforcing the law, it must be enforced fairly. Okay? In other words, there should be justice in the manner in which you enforce it. Here is where the problem is. While we do not entirely condemn the powers, we do not condemn the powers exercised by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We condemn the intention of the suspension. They wield the power to suspend, but the intention is purely political. They are basically giving another political party an advantage. So, when you have been given a particular statutory position, there should be reasonableness before you act. Even in the court, reasonableness is used other than the law that is provided and the power that you wield. So what you are supposed to do is, you ask yourself, 2 weeks is remaining before the elections. If I ban this one, what will I be doing to the electorates who are supposed to campaign freely, who are supposed to receive the message from this person? Because what ECZ is doing is not different from what the ruling party has done, where they are buying off airtime from all media houses. And after getting them into a contract, then threatening to sue them. Even if they sue you, they will never arrest you. So, that is not a criminal offense. They will claim money to be thrown out. You are on firm ground. The contract of that nature is immaterial because of the Electoral Process Act, which provides for fair coverage. So it can't survive. It's a waste of time. I saw it, I think it was from Davis Mwina. That's total ignorance. You see, it can't survive. It goes there, you raise preliminary issues or an interlocutory application. But it is thrown out. But this is another issue. I followed the PF virtual rally, the one which just took place, was that on Wednesday, actually. It was yesterday. Or is it the other one before this one, where it was played on literally each and every TV station, radio station, social media sites. The question is, probably, where are they getting the money to pay all TV stations in this country Now,
Whereas others are having big challenges. They've erected billboards literally everywhere in this country.
Exactly,
Where
exactly.
they're getting the money.
You see, the challenge that we have right now,
Of course, we've heard
is
one
that
reason from Mr. Mwila where he's
Yeah.
saying the money is coming from their partners.
Exactly. So I'm saying that the challenge that we have with that question that you have asked, it's a very difficult question, in the sense that the political party bill was not enacted. Had it been enacted, it could have been dealing with all these things to do with sources of money and all those things. Because then the state could have been financing on one side, as the clause suggested, because I participated in criticizing the bill, okay, through some institution. Now, the challenge that we have right now is that there is no political party that is obliged to disclose the source of their money. Because there is no compelling law to that effect. That's a challenge. So you have a situation where political parties can get money from anywhere. And in any case, it is very difficult. PF is a ruling party. And one thing that Zambians should know is that there is no political party that can compete right now with the Patriotic Front in terms of resources. Do you get the point? Because they have so many advantages that you may talk about. Whilst in government, there are some institutions they may have given contracts. In other words, some of the advantages they are having, they could be illegal. But there are advantages over other political parties. I'll give you an example. There could be so many companies that may have been given contracts. Those companies are coughing through. They are releasing money. If we have to win, you have to get more contracts. We gave you contracts. Support us.
But it also takes us the issue of, we keep hearing about this ship, there's this ship taking illegal arms.
The illegal arms.
Could it be what you're trying to link us to say, look, we are giving you this contract. We are giving you this contract. And along the way, scratch your back, I will scratch my back, I scratch yours also. So it's scratching each other's backs. It also takes us to the issue of the illegal arms dues.
Correct. Now,
I don't have enough information.
I'll deal with that one quickly, but let me first nail it by mentioning that the advantages that the PF will have is that they will have all these companies, AVIC and many of them. You think those companies that got contracts, if the SG, Mwila went and knocked at their door, we are requesting for some money, support us. You think they will refuse?
No, definitely.
They will definitely say, no, wow, we are ready to support you. You gave us a contract, thank you very much. Here is $2 million for your campaigns. They will go to another one. You supplied us fire tenders with campaigns. Help us. They say, wow, thank you very much for the contract. Here you are. They will do that. I'm saying, of course, there's no compelling law right now. However, when it comes to individuals accruing that kind of money through bank accounts, that is where now the money laundering issues come in. But that's a very tricky situation to deal with, especially under the circumstances. Because much of that money doesn't even get into bank accounts. It's never signed for. This is money that comes mostly legally. This is where DEC can come in to investigate, but to what extent, and do they have the capacity? So it is something that is very complex, especially given the period in which we are, to disclose exactly where the money would come from. And we can only confirm that from the time immemorial, institutions would engage different partners, not only those found within Zambia, but even beyond the borders of this country.
Correct.
Whether those agreements they're getting into are a danger to the nation, that is something that we can discuss at length when we have access to that kind of information. So, the Patriotic Front cannot be compared to any party when it comes to having money for campaigns. If you remember the time of MMD, that advantage. The only thing that we can question at the moment is use of public resources and public funds. And we are aware that there has been reports of certain government vehicles where they remove number plates. We've seen them on social media. Then they start using it. And people have reported government vehicles belonging to the Ministry of Agriculture.
But you report to who now?
No, I'm saying that report
of course, we've heard such stories. We've seen them. Even during by-elections, we are seeing district commissioners using their government vehicles.
Those are the legalities I'm talking about.
Definitely. But
we can question.
You report them to who?
When they are out of power. That is the
when
time.
they are out of power.
That is the time. Unfortunately, that's the weakness that we have with these institutions that we have. When they are out of power, that's when you will see the amount of abuse that they have put in place. And primarily, this is one of the reasons why many ruling parties would not want to move out of power. Not because they love power too much, is that they have stolen, one. They have done a lot of illegal things that they would know that the moment this comes, we are finished.
No, for the PF, we are saying the PF because they're in government. They are saying we cannot be chucked out of power because if an opposition party was to take over government, then there would be a regression in terms of development because
but there is no such a theory in a democracy.
I'm sure you've heard that. That's what Mr.
A
Dennis
democracy.
and everybody is saying.
A democracy.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the opposite. I will tell you something. There are tenets of democracy which do not agree with what they are saying. Huh? And then there are also tenets or elements or characteristics of the rule of law. Huh? If you look at the tenets of good governance, one of them in a democracy is that you have periodical elections where people decide who they should be their leader. Okay? And that is one of the pillars of good governance. Periodic elections. Even those democracies that are running in other countries, periodic elections. It's one of the key principles, even of the rule of law. The Constitution of Zambia prescribes that there will be a term will be 5 years. After 5 years, you go for elections. So when they say if we are going to move out of power, development will return, what are they saying about the law that they passed themselves, and which President Lungu signed, that after 5 years there should be elections, and people should choose. And Section 5, Article 5 of the Constitution of Zambia places sovereignty, sovereign authority on the people of Zambia, who shall make decisions or put in a system or government or leadership through the ballot. And so, we have the Constitution in place. We cannot hear from empty tantrums. They don't make sense to us. Because what we are doing, the exercise that we have now, is constitutional.
Right.
And our Constitution is a governing document. It
Right.
is the supreme law of the land. So what we are trying to do here is to simply uphold the Constitution. Those that do not want to move out of power at all costs are violating the Constitution. Because not wanting to move out of power is treason.
Right. Mark,
Yes.
let's quickly go into the inbox section and see what the people are still saying back home. We've got a lot of messages that are just coming through. Let's quickly go to Obedience Chiyangi, says watching you from Kasempa, and of course Gary Banda. I like the question, do they read the law? And of course Chucks, what can then be done to ECZ for failing to execute their duties? What can be done to the ECZ for failing to execute their duties?
Yeah,
Just hold on them.
Yeah.
The messages, just leave it there. We are coming back there.
There are various legislation which allow for someone to be removed from office where they are incapable of conducting their activity, their work or their duties. But the unfortunate situation right now where we are is
I think it all goes back to what you had said.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's to do with your own integrity and morals. If
Yeah.
you think that, for instance, if it's those in power that are pushing you against the wall, you can simply say, "Bane, me, I
I'm
can't
resigning."
continue. Let me resign."
no,
moral
that's
grounds."
of course that is one of the things that I talked about.
But legally, what can you do?
But I've
legally?
told you that there are very few people there who can do
We
that
have
when you
morals.
put money
All
on
right.
the table. Very
Right.
few.
Okay, let's continue. Let's continue with, please, next time, invite Mr. Sangwa. We'll try to do that. Thank you so much for that. Watching you from Mongo, Western Province, a nice program. Thank you so much. That's Emmanuel Hatioka. DPM Classic Chucks, watching from Germany. I like the way you are explaining the law. There is a lot which needs to be done. The law is being abused. Thank you so much. Peter Malupenga says, watching you from Katete. Trust me, I'm enjoying. Nice to see you both. Mark, how are you doing? Mark is fine. I can answer on his behalf. He's just a little bit hungry. Zinga Siaton Tola says, these guys wants to be in competition with the opponent, tied and claim victory. What a shame. It goes back to the race that Mark talked about. Amivans Kakwambi, watching from Lusaka, Chawama. Thank you so much. Mark, how many more should we read?
We'll see if we can.
We can read 3 more or 5 more.
Yeah, well, if we can have as many people as possible participating, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, some people are just telling us where
Okay,
they're
let's
watching
see. Let's go. Please get to the question of the president not being regulated.
No, that one we've made it very clear. He's regulated. We read the Electoral Process Act. We said he's a candidate. There should be a difference. I think what I need to emphasize as you read the
Nzinga there is saying Zambians should not allow the PF to go into competition. I think okay, we read this particular one, but I'm seeing a lot of messages, but I'm failing to get there. Right.
Now, I think that question has come back. Let me put it in another way. The complexity is to define when President Edgar Lungu is carrying out executive functions and when he's going to campaign. Now, that is the complex part which is there. Now, there is a very slim line during this period between going to see a government project and campaigning. And that's where the problem is.
And this is where he's mixing the two.
Exactly. And this is where ECZ must come in and say, Mr. President, when you went for this particular, the delegation were PF cadres, you are campaigning. So we need to remind him. So this is where ECZ comes in. That's why I was saying.
And again, if it is government, why would he be going in political regalia anyway?
This is what I'm talking
He's
about.
wearing a cape political
For the
regalia.
PF. And then the delegation are PF.
Mr. Samuel Mukupa, who's always with him, who's the national chairman for the
Then
PF.
you have ex-ministers in PF regalia and the candidate standing next to him. Mr. President, sir, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who is doctor now. That is campaigning. You are a lawyer. You cannot get a candidate who is standing and then you stand on the podium having commissioned a particular government project and claim you are carrying out your duties as president. That is a campaign. And ECZ has something to say. I am looking forward to a very dignified person who is going to wake up one day and say, we have written President Edgar Lungu that they why you are going around doing these projects. There are certain things that you can avoid. Number one, you should not go and address a rally or people telling them to vote for PF again. Go and specifically talk about the project and go back to State House. But do they have the capacity? We don't have. We have people that know the minute they are saying that somebody will have helped them clear their office. By the time they are driving back to the office, they find somebody else and the lock has been changed. Those are the people that we have there. Now, I think the other message that come, other messages just talked about John Sangwa, State Council. I think we should be getting that John Sangwa State Council in one of our programs as well.
Definitely, we'll do that.
John Sangwa happens to, by the way, he is my constitutional law lecturer. So the way constitutional law is, at Ziare there is no constitutional law. The only constitutional law you learn is the one you do at undergraduate. So the constitutional law I use to teach you and to tell people and explain certain things is a product of John Sangwa.
So John Sangwa is represented.
Was actually no. Actually, I'm his product. There was even a saying
correct. This is why I'm saying John Sangwa is being represented.
From the point of law, that is impersonation. Let me just let me mention that.
No. From the media.
Yes.
This is media perspective. Because John Sangwa is imparting that knowledge into you.
Correct.
So that knowledge is now getting
that
to the
is
viewers.
the only information that
so
you
this is why we are saying John Sangwa is being represented. The knowledge of John Sangwa is being...
You can see it.
Look, this is
I
why...
Like it.
That's what I'm saying.
You're making a point.
That's what I'm trying to say. That because... No, I'm saying because John Sangwa has been your lecturer. So basically, you are representing John Sangwa very well. It's like me, Kalan. I go out of this country. Whatever deeds that I do out there, I'm representing my country. Because if I mess up, everybody will be saying, Zambians, we had a Zambian here who liked to eat. Was a womanizer. I'm not saying that.
I like it. You know, there was even a saying in the University of Zambia that if you've never been taught by John Sangwa, then you're not a lawyer. there was just a saying, but of course this time people didn't want to hear that.
Mark, we need to go. It's getting late now.
Yeah.
Your concluding remarks?
My concluding remarks is that it's an appeal to President Edgar Lungu.
Right.
If you believe that in sincerity the ground is suggesting loss, I know it's very difficult to concede. The best thing that you need to begin doing right now is to start preparing One of them he has to do is to reach out to political opponents that you believe, because most of the things that many of these people are scared of is to be arrested. It should not be obvious that when people are forming government, they should arrest others. There is a lot that this country has. It is important for politicians in this country, between these 2 weeks, in these 2 weeks that we are remaining, to start making peace with one another, not heightening tension. Because whether we like it or not, one of them will be president of this country. Come after 12. And to be president of the country,
Out of the 15.
yes, to be the president of the country, especially under the circumstances, can never be by force. We have seen what is happening in the regions. In the region, it's very difficult, and even to do things by force and plan so many things is just a gamble. It's like you are gambling in a casino. That is what is happening. Meaning, it is possible that power may shift, okay, and
power may be up.
as they are singing in that song. Now,
So
all
it
I'm
can
saying
either
is that,
shift
all
or
I'm
they
saying
wear
is
it up.
that the activities that are taking place across the country does not give us a true picture about President Edgar Lungu's popularity. Okay? The manner in which he's handling his main political rival in the race speaks volumes of what many people now can see. Because they are wondering. Tries this, he bans. Tries this, you can't move. What? You delay. No, you can't fly. No, here. So people are now able to see. The best thing that we need to do during this period as a country is to begin to preach more unity. To make Zambians that have been fighting and shedding blood unite. That never should you carry a machete against a fellow Zambian. Our biggest enemy in this country is poverty. And the biggest weapon that we should carry is a vote. Because that is the only right that we have to make a decision of leaders that we want. We cannot lose peace because an individual wants to rule. No. We have more than 18 million Zambians that want peace and that want life. Who are more important than that individual? I think that is my word.
So what Mark is saying, let the wishes of the Zambian people prevail.
Correct.
If you lose, accept. But again, there should be a way to accept defeat. Not where one person's leg is held by the police and the other one has been let loose to run, and it's a 100 meters race. Let it be a free and fair election. Then nobody's going to complain. But if you can allow others to fly out, then you stop others from doing that. That is already unfair kind of an election. If you can allow others to go and campaign, on the other hand, you are saying, you can't campaign, you should be in your house. Tomorrow then they call you a Facebook politician or a household politician. Then that is wrong. Thank you so much for your company as we count down to the 12th of August 2021 general elections. My name is Kalan Mchim on behalf of Mark. Join us again next week. For now, it's good night.